Moi underscore I guys, Johnny Boy here. Don't know. Do you guys think I should keep using that intro? I think I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna do that intro. But anyway, welcome to my half flip tutorial. This is a much requested tutorial, which is already available in several places on different Rocket League YouTube channels. But this is my take on it. A lot of people have been asking for it, so here it is. Firstly, what is a half flip? Well, half flip is quite simply the fastest way in Rocket League of turning your car from a zero momentum position to going as quickly as possible in the opposite direction. And that is actually very useful because there will be times that will happen in Rocket League. Obviously, if it was in your control, you wouldn't ever be stationary in Rocket League. You would want to keep moving, keep up your momentum so that you can hit the ball harder, so you can get to where you want to go faster. But sometimes you go for a 50-50, or you fall off the wall, or you go for a save, or something awkward happens, and then suddenly you have no momentum and you're in a really awkward place and you want to be going in the opposite direction. What do? You half flip. There you go. And I know a lot of you guys want to know how to do this, so I'll explain the how to, I'll explain the different variations and some situations where you can apply this move. But bear in mind, it is predominantly right now, in the current Rocket League metagame, a recovery mechanic. And you can be really creative with it, but that is why we're learning this, is to recover to a better position in the midfield quicker. That's where you're going to use this move for 99% of the time. But anyway, like I said, there are two variations of the half flip. One of them is the straight back half flip. That's where we're just going straight back flip, then diagonal air roll to land in the opposite direction. The other variation starts off with a diagonal backflip, so one of these where you're actually, air rolling to the side and backflipping in a flip. So you start off with one of those, and then you throw your joystick upwards, or you press W depending if you're playing with keyboard or mouse or controller, and that will actually land you in the opposite direction. And don't worry, I'll break these down into a little bit more steps because it's you're probably seeing this happen and thinking, what? How's that happening? But trust me, the theory behind this is very simple. The learning of it and getting the muscle memory absolutely down pat is not easy. And then after you've done that, you have to start learning what positions in the field you can actually use this to your advantage, and what sort of situations you can use the half flip to do different types of things. But first things first, what is actually going on when I do this straight back half flip? Well, the first thing that I'm doing is just a backflip. That's the first input that I'm putting into my keyboard, which for those of you who don't know, I do play keyboard and mouse, but I'll talk about what you need to do in controller as well, because I know that most people do play Rocket League with controller. First things first, you backflip. So that's the first stage one of a half flip, is backflipping. And for those of you who don't know how to do that, you just make sure that your joystick is down at 6 o'clock position and you double jump. Simple as that. Now, after you've got that part down, which I'm sure 99.9% of you already have, what I want you to do is throw your joystick to 12 o'clock immediately after backflipping. So right there, if I throw my joystick to 12 o'clock, just as my car is fully upside down, you see that I just land on my roof. That's part number 2. And of course, for keyboard users, you just press W. So I'm holding S, backflip, press W, land on my roof. So from there, it's really quite simple. What do you do in Rocket League if you're going to land on your roof? Well, you air roll to the side to get your wheels on the ground. So that's exactly what we do. After we've corrected our car's axis along the vertical, we just correct it along the horizontal as well. Get our wheels to land on the ground. So it starts off backflip, air roll forward, air roll to the side. It all happens very quickly. Backflip, air roll forward, air roll to the side. And if you're on a keyboard, you actually have the advantage of being able to put the air roll forward and the air roll to the side into one motion, because you can actually air roll at full speed in 2 axis with a keyboard. You can't do this on default controls. This looks kind of silly, but what I'm doing right here is I'm just holding my jump button, and during the jump, I'm air rolling diagonally to see how far it will go. You see that I can actually do almost 1.5 full rotations. But on a controller, you'll probably only manage to do 1, because when you do put your joystick to one of the corners, top right, top left, bottom right, bottom left position, you don't get full speed in both the forward and the sideways direction. So yeah, keyboard, if you ever see somebody doing a half flip like this, they're probably playing keyboard, or they have changed their controls from the default settings. But fear not, you can just segment the move into 3 parts, instead of just doing it in the good old keyboard and mouse backflip into diagonal air roll landing. 2 parts, just a really smooth motion. You just need to segment it. So you backflip, air roll forward, then air roll to the side. And you can actually add boosting to the second part to make it even easier. So as I'm in the second part, you see I can boost to keep myself in the air for even longer, and that just leaves more time for me to correct the car's landing, because obviously you do have to do a little bit of correction on the landing, and boost can help you do that. If you just boost, you can stay in the air longer, and that gives you more time to land. And also boosting, of course, it does help you to accelerate in the direction which you want to be going in, so you might as well do it anyway if you have boost to spare. And that does actually lead us into one of the more advanced half flip techniques, something that I very rarely see, but I have seen it before, and that's half flipping into an aerial. I've seen it a few times where people are backwards in the midfield and they want to half flip into an aerial. The problem with doing that is you don't have your second jump to do the quick up aerial that a lot of people are doing these days, so you're obviously very, very close to the ground. For this to work, you need to actually cancel out the rotation in the backflip direction as quickly as possible by air rolling against it. So what we're doing when we do a half flip is we just air roll forwards about halfway through the flip. So as soon as my car is fully upside down, I'm air rolling forwards, and that cancels the air roll, or cancels the backflip. They both work against each other. We've got the forward air roll and the backflip, and they're both working against each other to make us land on our roof. But if you want to do an aerial, you have to start air rolling forwards almost immediately, almost instantly after you take off. So it's like backflip, air roll forwards, because you need that angle of your car to get the height. So you've got to get up there. It's very, very difficult, but I have seen a few people do it, and I think some of you guys will probably have some fun with that. Just starting off aerials in the midfield using a half flip. Probably more of a freestyle thing. So there you go. That's one way of using a half flip for an advanced technique. The other method of doing half flips, before I forget to mention it, is actually vastly easier to do on a controller, and that's where you start off with the diagonal backflip and you just air roll up halfway through. It's as simple as that. So I'm doing a diagonal backflip to begin, one of these, and then I air roll up halfway through. So as soon as my car is fully upside down, I'm just putting my joystick to the 12 o'clock position. Starts off with your joystick either in the 7 o'clock position or the 5 o'clock position to get one of these diagonal backflips, and then you just throw your joystick to the 12 o'clock position halfway through, or if you're on keyboard, you just press W halfway through your diagonal backflip. You have to do a little bit of correction in the landing for this one, but you can, of course, still use boost to make it easier and to start accelerating in the direction you want to go. I feel like this straight back variation is strictly better because it is marginally faster, because it does get your boost pointing in the direction that you want to go almost instantaneously, which does let you accelerate that tiny bit quicker, which could be the difference between making a play and just being too late to arrive on the scene. But that's the how-to for half flipping. We've got the backflip and an air roll forward and an air roll to the side, and then we've got the diagonal backflip into air roll forward. That's the two variations. We've got the diagonal half flip and the straight back half flip, and the timing of the air roll forward, which cancels out the backflip and actually points your nose in the direction that you want it to be going. You see, I'm doing it just when my car is fully upside down, or there or thereabouts. So when my car is fully upside down, and even a tiny bit sooner is not too much harm, because obviously if you land on your back wheels first, that's okay, but if you land on your front wheels first, then you can actually just face plant the ground like that. So you want to make sure that you, if you're going to be a tiny bit off timing with this, rather be too early than too soon with the air roll forward, because if I air roll forward too late, then that can happen where my nose hits the ground and starts dragging along and I lose all my speed. But at least if I do it too early, my back wheels are going to hit the ground first, and that's good, that's fine. It's not as clean, but it's not a disaster. So there you go. That should explain it. If I did a bad job, I'm sorry. That's you're a lost cause. I don't know how else to explain it. My bad. But the only other things to talk about is some applications for the half flip besides using it as a recovery mechanic from low momentum situations to go in the opposite direction. And these are, you know, half flip challenges where you can, oh, I just double jumped by accident, where you can half flip to challenge the ball and then quickly get a shot from a situation where it might not otherwise be possible. So this can really catch your opponent off guard. They might not think that you're going to suddenly challenge them because they see you backwards, then all of a sudden you've challenged them, recovered and taken a shot, all in one swift motion. You can also do things like half flip saves. So if your car is somewhere in the middle of the goal and the ball is going to this corner behind you, but you know that a backflip isn't going to get you there, it's not going to give you enough distance and the ball will still squeeze in. You see it could still squeeze past me there. Well, actually, doing a half flip might give you that extra bit of distance. So half flip saves are also very useful because you can get your boost pointing in that direction and make the save to the bottom corner. You can also make the saves to the middle of the goal by using the half flip aerial technique that I was showing you guys earlier. So if we're on one side of the goal and we want to make a save about mid-height of the goal on the other side, so over that side of the goal, you just have to backflip, and then immediately after you've backflipped, you need to air roll forward. There is no delay this time. Like we usually wait for our car to be fully upside down before we air roll forward, but not this time. If we're wanting to make a save on a mid-height shot, then you've got to air roll forward immediately and start boosting to get that altitude so you can make a save. So yeah, half flip saves are actually really, really useful. Something that I'd encourage you all to learn. Half flip challenges are useful. And apart from that, you just want to think of times that you can use your half flip to get you to recover quicker. Like obviously the most obvious application is if a 50-50 happens in the opposition team's corner and then the other player wins the 50-50, so the ball's behind me and I have no boost. A lot of players would just, drive in a circle and front flip to start recovering, but you can recover that a tiny bit faster if you just do a half flip, and then you can get back quicker. And obviously if you want to hit that big boost pad, let's say that I want to be able to hit that big boost pad that's right behind me, right here. If I want to do that the fastest way possible, I need to flip towards it. Oh my goodness, I've scored. Am I losing? Oh no, yeah, blue scored. I've been equalized on in a 1v0. But like I was saying, if I want to hit that boost pad, then flipping is necessary. So that is another application of the half flip. I can't just, drive in a circle and collect the boost pad without taking a really weird line. So that's why, half flipping straight over the top of it is definitely advantageous, because there's no other way for me to get my car to go straight back onto that boost pad other than half flipping or back flipping. And like I said, half flipping is superior because it gets your car pointing in the direction that you want to go just that little bit quicker. But yeah, that's just about everything that I can think of with regards to application. Oh no, actually, there is one more thing. How could I forget? The infamous... So some of you might have noticed while I was just messing around here chatting to you guys, I have been doing this version of a half flip. And this is just... It's the same technique as the straight back half flip, but backwards. So I'm starting off going forwards, front flip, and then I reverse air roll, and then I land on my wheels with a side air roll correction. So this obviously has very limited application, because why would you ever want to turn your car from facing forwards to going backwards? That just, never happens. If you're going to do that, you might as well just power slide, because that way at least you get to keep your momentum. If you do a half flip like this, you lose all your momentum when you turn. So there is one application for this, and I mentioned this on stream the other day, and I'm starting to see it pop up on other places. I think that word has got around that this is actually a move. But yeah, this is something I came up with. I'm not sure if anyone else came up with it themselves, but I always see people when they're trying to score with no boost and into an open net, and they want to rush the ball in as quickly as possible. They don't want to slow down, and you're thinking, oh no, if I waste any time, my opponent's going to make it back in time. But if I front flip, I'm going to get one of those horrible wheel hits where the ball just gets hit by the undercarriage of my car. It doesn't go anywhere. So what do? Well, right after you flip, you just air roll backwards to keep the butt of your car facing the ball, and that will give you the hard hit from the roof of your car rather than the wheel hit. So this would have been a wheel hit if I just front flipped. but because I air rolled backwards, it kept the roof of my car facing the ball. It would just look like this. It just looks like that. Simple. You just front flip and then air roll backwards. And that keeps the butt of your car pointing at the ball, so that you can get that power shot. Or maybe not a power shot, but at least a hard hit, if you know what I mean. Where otherwise you might be looking at one of those awful wheel hits that just doesn't go anywhere. So that's, you know, one application. I think it's a useful skill purely based on that one application, because every once in a while, I don't know, maybe every 40 games or so, you're going to get one of those situations where you have literally no boost and you want to score the ball into the open net before the opponent comes back. But apart from that, I really don't see any application for that move. Half flipping is far more useful when you're using it from facing backwards to going forwards, and I don't think I had to tell any of you that. That's pretty obvious stuff. But anyway, that's pretty much all I've got time for here, guys. I've exhausted all of the information that I know about half flipping, or at least I think I have. I should really take notes so I have confidence that I have indeed told you guys everything that I know about half flipping. But I really think that that's everything that there is right now to say about half flipping. Hope that that was useful for some of you, and hope that I was able to explain how to execute a half flip and how to use it in your own games. But don't worry if you are struggling with it. It does take a long time to get that muscle memory and absolutely nail it every time that you can, you know, be confident to whip it out in a real game. So fear not if you are struggling with this. It is just one of those things you have to practice. And apart from that, if you have anything else that you want me to do a tutorial on, any of you guys want tutorials on Rocket League mechanics or Rocket League controls or theory, then leave that in the comments and I'll take a look at the comments later on, see what sort of comments are getting the most attention and what sort of tutorials are getting the most suggestions, and yeah, I'll look to do those in the future for you guys. Hope that you enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys around. Be sure to check out my stream, and you can catch me doing all kinds of stuff like this live, as well as VOD reviews and live casting and all of that good stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate the continued support. I'll see you guys next time.